mechanical product development in today's world. And today's world is different from what any of us have experienced before. There's some adjustments that have had to be made. He's going to talk about making those adjustments, and particularly in mechanical product development and working with lots of customers. So, Mark, I'll let you take it away.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and try to share my screen here and let me know if you can see it.
There we go. Looks good.
You should see my first page. Is that what you see?
Yes.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome. So Walt and I have known each other for what, 10, 12 years now, Walt? What do you think?
At least 12.
Yeah. The fact that you know that worries me. I'm kidding. Anyway, so we've been working together on lots of different projects, and I'm the owner of Fusion Design, and we've had to adapt like the rest of the world. And I'm going to talk about that today, how it was before and how it is now, and what I think will happen after all this, if there is an after. After will be different, I think that's for sure. So, so not technical today, but more business-centric, but with a technical flair. So that's really the content for today. So I think it helps to, let's see if I can get my slide to work. There, okay. So a little background about what our company does for those of you who don't know. We're a mechanical development company, and we develop all kinds of products, many of them wearables. And I've been to this event before, and in that regard, but a lot of other things too. We'll do electronic devices of various sorts, from small to very large. But medical happens to be one of the biggest ones, and wearables is certainly a big subset of that. So we have some of those in process now. So it's a consultancy. It's not quite turnkey, but close. So where do we start? We start at an idea, and we finish typically a prototype with all documentation in the mechanical sense. And we work with companies like Voler to create the electronics that might go inside and work together. So our output is the beginning of a production run. So that kind of frames where we are in society's business world. We are 30 years old now. We spin about 50 to 100 projects a year. And we passed 1,400 a couple of years ago. So we've been doing it a long time. We have our own building down in Campbell, California, for those who are familiar with the area. Those who are far away may not be. We have a shop, a machine shop, and I'll go into more details about that, but been around a long time. We do both products and equipment. The industries we serve, I mentioned a little about that. We do consumer products, medical, electronics, commercial, and equipment. Equipment, an example of equipment might be an assembly machine, an inspection machine, or maybe a cancer therapy treatment machine, something like that, eye surgery machine. Whereas a commercial product might be something that goes on a telephone pole outside and works with a cellular network, either for cellular backhaul or communication to your phone directly, 4G, 5G, stuff like that. So, and electronics in general is everything from wearables to anything with a board in it. It could be rack-mounted computers, things like that. This is a process we typically follow. This is off the FDA's website. It's an oldie but a goodie. It's called the waterfall. And we always start with user needs, and then we develop the design input and go through a process. Then the output is used for verification, and then ultimately validation. So this is the loop we go through. It's a very small piece of a very big process, right? The beginning of development is typically in this space. Sometimes it's research, other times it's full product development. So we follow these process steps on almost all our projects. We do have point efforts too occasionally. For example, large equipment maker may hire us to do an earthquake analysis specific to their machine. So that certainly wouldn't follow this waterfall process, but we do that kind of stuff too. Go to the next one. So, yeah, good. So before the pandemic, these are the normal steps we went through. And the green ones, green means we didn't actually get face-to-face with someone, right? For example, phone introduction, obviously you're not face-to-face. You'll see why this is important in a minute, in my opinion. So usually our business comes through relationships. Someone refers someone to us, and that's how it works. Then there's a phone introduction, typically, and then there'll be a non-disclosure. Then maybe someone from my company will go visit them, or they will visit us. We'll gather data. These are in-person tasks, right? Then we'll go back to our office, consider the path, ask questions, propose a budget. If they like it, a PO is generated. Then we assign team members. Remember, these are all green, so they're done without the presence of the customer and us together. Then we typically have, once a project starts, we'd have weekly strategic meetings plus ad hoc meetings. And those are almost always face-to-face. They were almost always face-to-face. Then we do our own scheduling and budget management and design on our own. And sometimes we do prototypes. See that split there near the last line item. Sometimes we do prototypes with the customer directly because they have a contribution. And then we have milestone meetings, and then our deliverables were always in face-to-face. Okay, then this happened, and I have one of these big check marks on the front door now. I'm sure you guys seen that a lot, maybe not overseas, but basically it means that when the COVID occurred, a lot of interesting things happened, and I'll talk about that more. So now that, this is now business after. There's a typo at the top, should be after the pandemic. Actually after it started. And so now you can see almost everything's green. That means we don't get to see people face to face. So it's interesting. I don't even know how tall most of our customers are anymore, because you can't get that off of a video conference. It's kind of interesting. It's all talking heads, I guess. So the same sort of process, but now it's all done remote. And sometimes even our deliverables are complete remote. We've done full projects where we actually never personally met with the customer, the whole thing, front to back. So I thought that was very interesting. So very similar process, just different in that it's remote. So what happened with our customers? There's old, new, and gone, right? In our case, the long-term customers continued, often with closed buildings, working from home, and there was a lot of confusion about how to do things, the logistics of keeping a project running. So there's a lot of delays, but they did continue to work with us. In other cases, entire divisions or companies just disappeared really fast. Anything to do with food service and equipment that we were working on there often was at risk, or anything that required heavy physical presence was really challenged, and a lot of them disappeared. I had friends who were going gangbusters in their engineering businesses, and they disappeared because they were in the wrong part of society, and that did it. The other thing, which I call new, is I call it the war on COVID. Since we lost a few customers, the old ones stayed, and then when COVID struck, these areas have boomed right now, and they occupy much of our time. So first one is extremely high volume testing. When you guys go, you can see the picture on the right. When you go get a swabbing, that goes in a FedEx package, typically off to a centralized location where they do mass testing. That process is clumsy at best and very slow. I don't know how fast you got your results, but it can take 2 weeks or more. And by then I could have caught COVID 3 times. So it's a little crazy. So that's an area where a lot of development's occurring, mechanical development. Another one is regional testing for fast turnaround. So that's distributed testing. A lot of developments going on right there, and we've been hired to help with that. The other one is PPE, different masks and shields and other protective gear that go to help prevent spread of the disease. And the other one that's surprisingly occurring is automation. Where there used to be human interface, now there's the build out of automation to take the place of that, so that if someone would have served you before, it may now be automatic or semi-automatic, so there's no human there. It's really interesting. And the other thing that happened, which I didn't expect, but when everybody went home, a lot of them bought laptops, millions of laptops. And so the semiconductor processing equipment industry is booming right now. The large Lam Research, KLA, Applied Materials, those guys are booming. And it's because there's more chips being ordered and more computers that use those chips are also being procured. So those are the customer shifts, right? We had a normal broad offering and mix of customers, and then some died away that were more people-centric, people interface-centric, and new ones showed up. So those are the customer shifts that we saw. And we're still seeing it today. In fact, these others, I think, will grow. So where is everybody? What happened to our business, right? So we used to have everybody in this one building with a few exceptions, not many. And now it's split really in that we have an office team. And since we have a machine shop, there's someone in the machine shop, the 3D printing facility, management and HR here, and accounting is here. But everyone else is remote. So the majority of our other workers are engineers and designers. And they're all over. There's people in, let me see, Michigan, North Carolina, Arizona, and spread out over California. And I put the balance symbol there because to me, the way we develop products typically needs a balance between these two workforces, not necessarily head count, but work content count. What's that mean? So someone's designing something remotely and doesn't have access to the shop downstairs like they used to for prototyping. So now we've loaded more people into the shop so that they can address the new tasks coming from the engineers and designers in the remote sense. So if you're imbalanced in any way, too many of one or the other, you're going to hit a bind. And we did, right? So basically we just worked harder until we could fill the gaps between the two. So that the scale thing is really important. So I'm always rebalancing the business in this regard. All right, what communication tools do we use? I thought I knew most of them until this. Now there's a whole bunch of them that I didn't use before. But I broke them down into a couple areas in the office and everywhere else. It seems like that's how it works now. In the office, we converted our Wi-Fi system from discrete Wi-Fi networks to one common network, like Google and Facebook and all those other folks do. You go on site and one password works for the whole site and it's miles square. Well, we have that in our building now and that works great because of all these other products that use it. So if you go down the list, video hardware, we have beams. I can show you a picture of that if you're not familiar with it. We have a beam. We have obviously lots of smartphones, tablets, PCs, and webcams, video scopes. They almost all use this common Wi-Fi network. And we have to run around a lot between prototypes and meetings and such. So having a common Wi-Fi network has been hugely helpful for us. These are the software apps we use. You probably have heard of most of them. Everybody knows Zoom. But we, believe it or not, some of the ones that maybe aren't as obvious for business, but turns out we use a lot, Teams and WhatsApp. WhatsApp doesn't sound like sounds like a personal communication tool, but it turns out that that tool is a great way to have real-time prototype and brainstorming discussions with groups of people all over the place. It's really interesting. It transfers video. You can have calls if you need it. You can share video. It's really a good tool. So I've been very pleased with WhatsApp. The other one that I wanted to mention is Teams. Our entire business is now cloud-centric in Teams. Teams is a Microsoft product for those of you who aren't familiar with it. And it's a great tool in that all our phones go through it. Almost all our meetings can go through it. It's a good web conference. It stores all our data. It has task management, it has scheduling management. It's fully loaded. And it stands on the shoulders of all of Microsoft's other software, Excel, Word, PowerPoint, Outlook, all of them. So that's what's in the office. What's elsewhere? Well, everybody elsewhere either has 4G or Wi-Fi, and some are challenged because their network or neighborhood doesn't have the speed they need to do all these things that we do in the office. But most of them are okay. And they use similar hardware there, but they don't have beams, which I'll talk about in a minute. And they have almost the same software at home. So those are our communication tools. Okay, so we use the beam a lot. I was surprised. We did a job for them. Suitable was their name. I think they've been bought right now, but this is a telepresence robot, and we had it upstairs, and it just sat there for years. Nobody used it. So I moved it down into the shop, and now it's used 3, 4, 5 times a week for people to go talk to the machinist who's making their parts. So they'll beam in the literal term, and then drive the robot around to talk to the people who are doing their assemblies, their prototypes, and various other tasks that are associated with it. So anyway, that's the president using. So left view is what Gary in the shop sees. The right-hand view is what the driver sees. So the driver looks at his feet, much like engineers do, for those of you who are engineers. And it can look forward at the same time. So there's 2 cameras, a down camera and a forward camera, and lots of microphones. So you can actually tell if you wear headphones, if somebody's behind you on your right or left or just straight behind. It's pretty cool. So we use that a lot more than I expected. Down typical fabrication tools, real simple. We have a machine shop, and we can do simple sheet metal forming, lots of hand tools. We have a large plotter, and we have 2 printers, 2 3D printers. Those printers run every day, even weekends. So we are 3D printing like we never have before. So it's like a constant workflow for us. Elsewhere, we're pretty short on tools. All that people have when they're remote is hand tools, and I'm not sure that's the right balance of things. But today, all the fab's in the shop. So sourcing was a major challenge. The things we buy, we always want them rapid. Components, mock-ups, prototypes, short-run production. Those are all demands that we have inside our company. And our biggest sources are there, Amazon and McMaster-Carr. Amazon, they are actually very competitive as far as delivery and content. It's just McMaster-Carr is a much greater engineering-centric offering. I can get any nut, bolt, screw I want. Whereas Amazon, it's a lot harder to do that. But other things Amazon does are great. Sample products, instruments, things like that. So we use these 2 primarily. There's others, but these are our favorites. And every day we probably get 5, 6 packages from McMaster-Carr, 2 or 3 from Amazon. So we have to do a boxectomy every month or so because the boxes build up. Roomfuls of boxes. It gets a little crazy here. So that's our sourcing. We obviously buy a lot of other things. I think the other point on sourcing is COVID really messed up a lot of the supply chain for us. We're doing one project that needed a large kitchen appliance as a reference tool. And we ordered it. It says, oh, you'll get it in a couple of weeks. Oh, okay, great. So we ordered it, and almost every piece of the supply chain from fabrication to shipping to our front door was broken. Right? People were home because they had to be, so they couldn't do their task, whatever it was. It took 3 months. Promised in 2 weeks, took 3 months. We actually built a mock-up of it so we could do our development work because we couldn't get it. And it was just a simple thing, so common, you just go, well, that's obvious. I mean, it wasn't. So the sourcing thing was a big deal. So now we order anything that's suspicious early and then bug the daylights out of the supplier to get it on time. Communication rhythms. we have between 10 and 15 active projects running continuously here. I attend between 8 and 12 meetings a day, which I don't really like, but I do. I don't have any more driving time. My car only has 2,000 miles a year on it anymore. I used to do 10. So I guess that's 1/5, right? Drive 5 times less. But we still have weekly strategy meetings. They're all on video. And we still have ad hoc working meetings. And video calls are very common, and beam visits. I've started a new thing. All the clubs closed, so I can't go to the YMCA anymore. So I do walking meetings. So I just put on headphones, and my phone is now good enough, and most are, to do meetings while I'm walking. And so I do get some exercise, try to get 8 to 10,000 steps a day. That's important. Otherwise, I would just sit here until 10 o'clock every night, just sitting in meetings. So walking meetings are important. We always do rapid status with any means we want or can, and WhatsApp concepting has become more and more common than ever. I could talk more about any of these. Okay, let me see. Yeah. Oh, good. Okay, so typical deliverables for us, I talked about them. For those who are familiar with e-drawings, if you're a mechanical person, you've probably heard of it. It's SolidWorks output. It's a markup tool. You can see a picture of it there on the upper right. So as we design things, that's what comes out of it. Exploded assemblies, markable. We can put labels on it, circle things, talk about them. That's probably my favorite communication tool right now, besides email. Lots of videos. We take a lot of video now, and we put it up on Teams and other common sites for people to see. The old deliverables that are still true today are CAD drawings and models, 3D prints, machine parts, sheet metal. We're starting to do more with posters now because we can do large aesthetic reviews with those. That's becoming more popular. The other thing that's become more popular is proof of concept models. And often you can 3D print those very quickly. I showed a 3D printer on the right. That's not ours. Ours are smaller than that, but the principle is the same. You do things that you couldn't do before. You do it really fast, and you study whether they work or not. And now we're getting dragged into jigs, tools, and fixtures and short-run production. So we actually are the part source for a production area that one of our customers have. And what they do is they like to be able to change design on every 2 days or so to evolve their process. And at the same time, they're running production. It's a little crazy, but we're supporting that as well. Those are typical deliverables for us. Okay, so these challenges, I wrote this before COVID, but they still exist today. I thought I'd share them. Make sure we don't run too far on time here. We do, like I said, up to 100 projects a year, and the top 5 challenges are listed here, in my opinion. I could probably add another one for what COVID did, but these I think are important to gloss over. Most of our customers don't really do true market research, and they find out that the product really isn't needed, or they don't know the paradigms the world has about whatever their product area is. So they don't pursue a minimum viable product. They pursue a checklist, and that's often, it's not what they could do, it's what they should do. So the could or should question. Could I do it? Sure. Should I do it? Maybe not. And that's what marketing research is supposed to help define. So that's a weakness, in my opinion, in today's development cycle. The other one I see is incomplete project plans. A lot of people will write a schedule at the beginning, and that's the last time they look at it at the beginning. So recognizing the big picture along the way is a very important part of that project plan. And a lot of people don't do that. It takes time, it's work, right? And the other one is incomplete, inconsistent communication. This is a pet peeve of mine. I would much rather over communicate, send someone a text message every day than wait 2 weeks to give them a status. So I push everybody here to over communicate. And that's hard because a lot of engineers aren't always very comfortable with that. So they're getting better, but that's very, very important. Number 4, creeping elegance. Others call it feature creep. I call it checklist pursuit, but More feature equals better products, and that's a fallacy, I think. It doesn't always work that way. In fact, now I actually like simpler things often better than complex ones. So that's a challenge that can ruin a customer's project. And I think the other one that is a challenge is remote manufacturing, especially now with transportation and other limitations, travel being one of them. So those are the 5 challenges that I see typically. Okay, so what's next? So I have a couple slides like this. One is Megatrends. These are still true. I wrote this before COVID as well. Megatrends as component prices continue to drop. This can feed technology convergence like never before. What used to cost $10 a part for a product and maybe now costs $1 or will in 5 years. Solar is a good example. Solar panels continue to drop and it's on a curve. You can actually project when it gets to a price point that you care about. The other one, which is really cool for me because I'm a mechanical guy, is automation is easier than ever. I could actually program automation now. It's all drag and drop, plug and play, put in the little parameters and the robot does what you want it to do. There's lots of modular grippers and it's like all toys for me. So lots of fun. The other mega trend I see is labor rates keep going up. The price of labor is rising. And then also medical costs are going up as well. And we have an aging population. So there's a load on the economy that I'm a little worried about. So I think technology is going to be a part of the answer for a lot of that. So what's that effect? What are the effects of that? Tighter integration with hardware, software, and the cloud. Most of the products we do have some cloud interface now, and the data goes there. And most of the customers are just after the data. They just do hardware because they have to get the data. Sensors, for example, body sensors. So collaborative automation systems. We're actually doing work in this space. Food preparation, for one. How is a cafeteria going to run in our future? When you think about that, that's like, we're not supposed to go to cafeterias anymore because there's too many people. Well, okay, what's it going to look like after this, if there's an after? That's the other one. Then, what's the other one? Autonomous driving. I don't think that's going as fast as I thought it would, although we're working on sensors for that as well. So products will address multiple industries. I'm seeing a convergence between medical and fitness devices, for example. People call them fitness devices, but they're often very supportive of medical treatment. So I think those are going to continue to merge as we're seeing now. The other one that I think is a big one is products will grow for more disciplines. Art, ergonomics, science, and manufacturing need to blend into one as the human factor aspects of product usage become more important. And the last one, but I think often the most important, I believe the winners in today's business market are going to thrive in the transition space. What's that mean? Transition. The example I use is the Prius. It's a transition vehicle from a gas car to an electric car. On one side, you have an old Chevy gas car, and on the other side, you have a Tesla. In the middle, you had the Prius. The Prius was the #1 selling car for many years because it was in the transition space. It still ran on gas, but it had electric. I think the winners will be in the transition space. What's new for tech? It's interesting. I think VR has a possibility, although I say maybe because I don't see myself wearing a headset all day. And I don't think it's as effective, but I do think telepresence is going to boom, and it actually is. And our roving robot, our telepresence robot, the Beam, the only problem we have with it now is the doors are closed. It can't open a door. It has no hands. So I think automatic doors are in the future, and dumbwaiters, so the guy or girl can drive up and down the stairs some way. The next one is Teams 2. But what that means is Teams, which is the Microsoft product I talked about earlier, I think it's going to more tightly integrate. As you bring 5G online, 5G is a high-speed communication methodology, just like 4G plus much better. I think teams in that will merge much more quickly. Today, media is transferred in a clumsy way between devices. And I think teams or products like Teams will merge those much better than we have today. So I think that's a big future for us. The other one, which I'd put a picture on, is interactive online sketching. Some of my employees, I haven't seen them in face-to-face in 8 months, and I might not see them for another year. So we need to share ideas. How are we going to do that, right? And this is my favorite way, is interactive sketching. So today the products are too expensive to do that on a regular basis, but I think the price will come down, price convergence or technology convergence. Gamification, I think our business needs to get easier. Gamification to me means that it's obvious how to do things that weren't so obvious before. So making it easier so it's more paradigm centric, more comfortable, more fun. I think that's a big piece. The other one, I think that we don't use it all now, but we will, is called visual search. I call it visual search AI. So I want to be able to tell Google or whatever search engine that I want to be able to describe what I'm looking for verbally and have it formulate a search routine that narrows it down to something that makes sense. You know, for example, I'm looking for a ladder that can actually lift my paint can up to the window when I'm painting or cleaning, right? And, you know, you can't put that in a search engine, or you'll get a bunch of garbage. But in the future, I think you will, right? Stuff like that. And all this, I think, will create a huge productivity boost. I saw a video a friend sent me last night, and it started with a guy on stage saying, you know, we are losing 1.5 acres of trees every second on this earth. There goes one, there goes another. That's really scary, right? So then he shows this drone company that's in Australia. The drones are these really big ones, $5,000 drones, and they're loaded with these guns. And the guns have little tiny bullets that are actually trees. So these things fly over an open land and they shoot trees into the ground from like 50 to 80 feet up in the air. I don't know how high, but about that. And they literally can plant 100,000 trees a day with these things. It's like, that is a perfect example of technology solving some of the problems that we actually create on our existence in this earth. So I see that I see that technology has a huge opportunity for us in the future. And I think the bottom line of this presentation is that we've leveraged technology much more than we ever have before, and we will continue to do that in the future. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mark.
Yeah, sure.
Enjoyed your talk. Let me switch over to my presentation here. Happy to present the IoT and wearable device meetup to you. We're going to do some networking now. If everybody who would like to, we've got a small enough group that we can get it done. We'll allow about 10 seconds for an introduction. Just say enough that people will understand what you do and get an idea that they want to talk to you. And then we'll make it possible for you to follow up later and really get to know people. And Rio can help with the facilitation of the introductions. So Rio, do you want to come on and, I'm not sure how you want to do that. Do you want to have people raise their hand, or how do you want to do that?
Yeah, so let's start with any questions for the speaker. And if you'd like to ask questions, just be sure to unmute yourself. Or if you prefer to type your question in chat, that's certainly an option as well, and we can read the question for you. Are there any questions in the audience?
I did have one, and it related to a comment that was made about in today's world, you're not able to, well, that it is important to have a good understanding what customer requirements are, user requirements, but in today's world, it's difficult to get that communication. Did you have any experience with that? I had a recent project where this was a big issue. Was how do we talk to the customer today when I can't send somebody into the hospital and meet with them?
Thank you. That question is from Joe Zott.
Yeah, well, that's a great question. Almost everything is done via video today. Although currently in today's society, you can't probably get into hospitals. I haven't tried, but our business has the check mark on the door, and if you wear a mask and socially distance, you can come in. But visiting others, it's really difficult. So, and also the thing that doubles down on that challenge is a lot of the behaviors that we were so used to observing in the past have changed. So if you're doing a product that's somehow influenced by our new society, then you're way short of requirements because they're different, right? You can't go back and look at historical papers and things and say, oh, that's what it is. It's much more difficult. So we do a lot of interviews, and we actually did a live demo of, okay, so we were doing a product that goes in the future cafeteria, just for example. And it was a semi-automatic thing. I can't say what it is because it's a non-disclosure item, but we actually built a mock-up of it. We set up a room to mimic where it would go. And then we had a user in there and a narrator and all video. We had I think 3 video cameras running. One was the beam. One was a cell phone on a stick on a roll around. And then one other was handheld, all done through Zoom. So there were many attendees Zoom. So you could flip around to pictures, viewpoints, 3 viewpoints at the same time and see the product. So this mock-up was actually reviewed to capture requirements. You know what? We got a lot of good feedback because people are anxious to help. They just aren't able to go there in person. So that particular customer, I've never seen them face to face, and we've been working for them for 8 months. So.
We have 2 questions in the Q&A section. First one is from Julian. Have LT on product development and deliverables increase overall?
LT?
LT on product development?
Lead time, sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't use that acronym. Yeah, lead time's a cuss word. No, I'm kidding. Have they increased? Yes. That story I told you about equipment for kitchens and or cafeterias, that's why in most cases, right? It's sourcing of key elements that are critical to development are often compromised. That's why I showed you that we use Amazon and McMaster-Carr, and they actually did really well in this situation. Even though they probably doubled their delivery workforce, they had some hiccups. FedEx and UPS didn't do so well, but these guys did. Yes, the main effect to lead time was component delivery for us. Everything else was pretty similar.
Rajiv asked, with remote teams and all work remote, what's the impact on the product development cost and the shipping costs, given that parts, prototypes have to be shipped to remote locations? Is there any impact on the product development timeline?
So in our case, not that I've observed. I'll give you an example. We have 2 engineers in Michigan right now, and I talk to them almost every day on Teams. And when a project starts, and they have I think they have 3 active projects between them. When a project starts, I'll send them, or we will send them samples of whatever we're working with, and they're doing some handheld things, right? And so they get copies of that. That takes a day or 2. Things are pretty fast. And then we interact with video all the time. They can drive the beams around the shop as we make prototypes. So what really happened was, I think our efficiency is better because we don't travel anymore. It just instantly you're there. As long as the video is good enough, the feedback's good enough, and you know how to sketch, I think we're better.
We have a question from Alina. Alina, when you have a moment, please unmute yourself, or she's typed a question. I have a Oh, there you are. Thanks, Alina.
Thanks for the talk, Mark. I have a question about the type of business you do. I understood you go from idea to prototype. And my question is to make sure the product is actually successful. Do you do follow-up for the manufacturing? And in this case, do you cooperate more with some factories, local or globally?
Yes, we do. Almost every time. And the example of the tightest one we're working on right now, the closest relationship, is there's a local contract manufacturer in the Bay Area, and they are actually building one of the products that we helped design. And there are technical challenges that are in the process, and we almost every day we help them with dealing with those. We make parts for them, we update designs, so that works out really well for us. So yes, and some of our overseas, actually near-term production is going to be done here in the Bay Area, and long-term production is done in China. So there's a resource in China that the customer has that we also converse with on a weekly basis. So low volume production is being done right here, and high volume production is being developed overseas. And as the product matures to a level that's appropriate for overseas manufacturing, it will move and they'll be ready. So that's very typical for us.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Mark, Marcel would like to ask his question.
Sure.
Yeah. Hello. Thank you very much for that interesting presentation. My question is, have you already decided which measures you also will apply long term? For example, you have noticed the high potential of 3D printing or of home office. Have you already decided like what you will change after COVID and what will stay?
So it's fluid. There are a few things that I think are obvious. The world is learning how, the engineering world, my world's very small probably compared to many others, but the mechanical product development engineering world is, a few things are absolute. You don't have to be in this building to do your job. That's number one. Assuming your job has remote capabilities like design. The problem with that, and this is what I wrestle with, it was in my slides. If you're a new engineer or a new designer to that world, you don't get your hands dirty. And I believe everyone, at least mechanically speaking, should spend time in the shop, either making stuff, breaking it, fixing it, tweaking it. That is going to suffer. And so I have to make more changes to address that. And I'm thinking of a rotation schedule where engineers rotate in those that are new to engineering so that they can be shop members as well. So I think that I would change it for that. But other than that, we're still going to do remote work. We're still going to have lots of video conferencing. I'm always looking for the latest technology. I don't care. Big screens in the model shop, you name it, cameras wherever we need them, robots with arms. I don't care, whatever makes us successful.
Mark, I have a question from Patrick. Do you feel a decline in mechanical engineering development in general, as most companies are investing more towards software features in new products, for example, machine learning, deep learning, etc.?
No, I don't see that. We had our biggest month ever last month. So no, I don't see that at all.
Let me add one thing to what you said earlier. On the electrical side, we're seeing even less impact from COVID. Engineers can work independently much easier on electrical and software and firmware. So I think a lot of this is going to remain. I think a lot of businesses will continue to do a lot of remote work, even after COVID.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I think it's interesting too, because if they're experienced people, they've been in the shop in our case, and they know how things work well, then remote is very possible. The guys that I have in Michigan, one is extremely senior level and one is rather new. So we've got a mentorship situation going on there, but I still want that young gentleman new to engineering to come in and experience shop time. But other than that, remote works really well.
Sounds great. Thank you. Are there any other providers or consultants, reps online here that would like to speak about their experiences regarding product development in today's world?
Maybe
Yes.
maybe I can say a few words. We are a solution provider for electronic components, and at the beginning of COVID, we were surfing on the wave of projects which started before COVID. So for a few months, the activity has been quite constant. And a few months after that, there's been a bit of a drop in activity, time to be able to really find what customers were working on new projects. And now the activity starts picking up again. But there has been a dip from our side and from our partners' side, a little bit in activity towards, I'd say, middle of the year, give or take. But it's picking up again. And so a bit of a different feedback compared to Mark, because we are more on a component level, maybe. But the activity has been picking up again, and results have actually been quite good overall. So it has been a strange dynamic where you cannot meet people anymore, but projects keep moving forward, and supply chain has been impacted a lot at the beginning. And again, this is becoming, again, it's back to normal. So it looks like we are managing in general to adjust well to the new normal for product development.
Thank you, Julian. Thank you for sharing that. Stalin, would you like to ask your question? You're on mute.
Yeah, do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Thank you, Stalin.
Oh, okay. I'm asking, do you design from for somebody else's requirements, or you start with design concepts like finding out the requirements for your own and make the prototype and send to somebody?
Typically, people come to us with a concept in mind, often patented, and then we help them create that through CAD, prototyping, and other methodologies. So a lot of times the education level about our process is hugely variable. Some come to us with very little understanding of what development is about. Others come to us with their 60th project, and it varies all the time. So we have to be very dynamic in our approach so that we align the exact tasks for the person's stage of understanding and need. So it is widely variable. And our customers range from single people to Fortune 100 companies.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep.
A question to the attendees: are there any tools that you've integrated or have used that have carried you through the COVID-19 period that you'd like to share with the group that you have found extremely useful?
I'm hoping someone's found something I haven't tried yet, so I can try it.
I just want to say, I have to leave. I'm going to let Rio manage the networking and let everybody introduce themselves. And if anybody wants to talk to me, I've introduced myself. I'd be happy to hear from you. So
thank you.
I'll have to go, but I'm glad everybody was able to join us. Thank you.
Thank you. Jeff would like to ask a question, Mark.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm wondering if you end up getting involved in supporting a client's efforts to find capital, that is, supporting their case that what they've got is viable.
Oh, yeah. Well, today, yes, we do. The answer is yes, we do. Today, we had a kickoff meeting from a nice lady who got a grant from NASA for a really interesting product. And we helped her write that grant application 8 months ago, I think. And she got money and now it's a project. So there's an example. The other way we help people is connecting them to those who are in the funding space. We're not a funding entity ourselves, but we end up running into a lot of folks that are in that space. So we do help.
Likewise, Jeff, we have a small pocket of private investors, angels, and VCs as well, depending on where the customer is in terms of what their comfort level is. We help position them in a beyond a warm introduction, actually assisting them in making sure that they are in front of money.
Thank you.
Thank you. If those who are comfortable sharing their contact information with the attendees, be sure to send me an email and I will add you to a list that will be posted privately, but to the attendee list here. You can ask your questions or your bio or CV or whatever that you feel would be nice for the group. Questions, of course, to Mark and to Walt are encouraged. We're here to help. And for those who wish to remain private, certainly know that your name will not be shared unless you reach out and let me know otherwise. All right?
Sounds good.
Thank you to everybody. We're on time. We have 5 minutes to go before we wrap. If there's anything else on top of mind for anyone, please, this would be the nice time to ask. Otherwise, a video of this meeting will be made and distributed to you, and the RSVP list as well, who may not have been able to make it or had to drop off.
Thank you, Rio.
You're so welcome. Someone has a raised hand. Let's see.
That's Tom Grimm, and I wonder if we were going to do a introduction of ourselves.
Oh, that would be lovely, Tom. Would you like to kick that off?
Sure. My name is Tom Grimm. I'm a consulting product developer. I work primarily in the consumer product space, from toys and collectibles. Also done medical, and virtually everything has electronics in it these days. My strength is my breadth of experience. I don't consider myself an inventor, though I have 26 patents. Projects typically start with concept evaluation, concept exploration, work through technical development, and end up in manufacturing. I work at selecting manufacturers, typically in Asia, and occasionally manage them through production. That's Tom Grimm.
That's wonderful, Tom. Thank you so much for that. Very impressive.
Thank you.
All right. Let's take a look at the list and give me a moment. Joe, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Up until a couple of weeks ago, I was VP of Engineering and Operations for AccuVein, medical device manufacturer, vein visualization, one of the largest invasive medical procedures. So I've done a lot of product development with virtual teams in my career, especially 3 generations at AccuVein were all done with virtual teams. And Mark, I really think your comments were very interesting because while I've always been a believer in virtual teams, so I'm pleased that this is now becoming the status quo. I am finding some interesting challenges not so much with working with people that you have pre-existing relationships with, but new ones. And so what I've done is I've left Accuvane, and I'm in the process of starting a new medical device company, and I'm working on a few ideas. And I find it really easy to work with my existing relationships, but it is a bit challenging. So I'm interested in networking and meeting with people about making new contacts. So thank you.
Absolutely, Joe. We look forward to assisting with that. Matthew Myers. Stalin, you're unmuted. Would you like to introduce yourself?
My name is Stalin. I'm from India. I basically am an electronics engineer. I work, most of my experience is in hospital equipment. I work with the hospital staff to develop solutions for them, entire workflow and what are the requirements, what are the equipment pieces coming there in the particular department. Currently, I work for the state government as medical equipment specialist. I'm just specializing in digital healthcare, where the automation, hospital automation, and the digital technologies to integrate the hospital and the healthcare work. So that's my specialty.
Understood, Stalin. Perhaps the group can assist with the challenges and also leverage your background.
Thank
Stalin,
you.
would you like to introduce yourself? Ben, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, can everyone hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, this is Ben. I'm the Chief Design Officer for Acorn Product Development. We're a 26-year-old product development company here in Silicon Valley and also in East Coast in China. We are a product definition to production company, doing everything from user experience, industrial design to mechanical engineering production, and specialize in life science, medical products, and robotics. So yeah, if anybody like to get to know us a little bit better, and feel free to let us know.
Absolutely, Ben. We'll share that communication likewise. If anyone needs contact information or would like to share contact information, please be sure to reach out to me and allow us the permission to do so. Ed, would you like to chat a bit?
Sure. My name is Ed Keys. I'm an embedded systems developer, which means I work with microcontrollers, sensors, that sort of thing. If you know of a niche industry or a hobby community that has a problem that can be solved with some little electronic gizmo, please let me know. I'm looking for product ideas to develop.
Wonderful. Alina, I know, what is it, like 2:30 in the morning? Are you still on?
Yes. Hi, everyone. This is Elina. I'm expert in MEMS, sensor and transducers. In the past years, I have been working in the audio industry and specializing in headset or gaming headset or audio glasses. And I worked in China many years, and now I'm back in Europe.
It's a pleasure. Thank you, Elena. Wonderful to meet you. Jordan, are you comfortable to introduce yourself?
Thanks. Thanks, Rio and Mark, for organizing it. That was very insightful to see a little bit how people adapt to the pandemic. So my name is Julian. I'm an acoustic engineer per background. I work at a company called Celtech, where we provide, like I said before, audio solutions. So that's from component to sub-assemblies. And this is really the core of what we're doing, helping customers embed audio solutions that fit the requirements they have for their purpose. And so we are a global company. I'm located in the Bay Area. The rest of our team is on the East Coast. And then we have teams in Europe and in China and Asia to help continue the project that we initiate here overseas. So yeah, that's me. Thank you.
Wonderful to meet you. Thank you again for reintroducing yourself for the few that just joined us. I have a question from Bau Amisetti. Would you like to ask your question if you would like to unmute?
Well, you mentioned that you helped somebody get a grant from NASA, and you also mentioned some sources for funding new products.
Mhm.
I'm an inventor, and I'm solving a problem that NASA is currently looking for a solution for their moon mission for 2024.
Mhm.
I just don't have any contact at NASA, and I was wondering if you could help me get my solution to them
Mhm.
so that they could use it in their mission.
Yeah, sure. Just share your info and a blurb about what you're doing, and I'll forward it through channels. We're not directly connected, but our customers are. So, yeah.
Will you be sharing your
Will
your contact info?
Yeah, it was on my last slide. I think it'll be on the video presentation too, I think. Right, Rio?
I'll reach out to the list and share contact information for Fusion Design and anyone else who wishes to be added to the roster with any details that you would like for us to share. So that way we get to know each other and network properly. Let's see, Dan, would you like to Dan Fleming?
Yes. I'm an electronic engineer who specializes in power systems. And I guess maybe where I can help those who are dealing in the audio product line, I'm very familiar with making low noise power sources in the power conversion area. Nice. And that's my primary background. One of the things I've saw with the COVID is how do we test prototypes if we don't have a lab at home? You know, I'm more familiar with going into an employer's, environment to do my kind of testing. Maybe this is a question more for your compatriot of Voltaire, or how do you say the name of the company?
Voler.
Yeah.
Or the English American is Voler. We do have a lab that our internal team uses and rotates, and part hand instrumentation at their home benches, whatever they may have there. And then, of course, use our lab and check out portable equipment as well, kind of like I'm the librarian. But certainly we open our lab for independent consultants as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to hear. Good to hear that hasn't totally been shut down.
No, we're practicing social distancing and making sure that everyone in the building, temperatures are taken. It's not 100% foolproof in terms of temperature. Conversations around that, everyone knows, but yes, absolutely. Reach out to us if you need a lab. We'll have you connect with Walt to get clearance, and then we'll help you out.
Well, that'd be great. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Okay.
Indra, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, thanks, Rio. Thanks, Mark. That was a great presentation. I'm Indra Desai of RIM Consulting, and I'm just a consultant on management side in helping organizations get better in productivity, as well as introduce people or advise people to increase their business. Thank you, Rio.
Wonderful. Thank you. I'm glad you could join us, Indra. It's a pleasure. Sabrina, would you like to do a brief introduction? Share. Is there anyone else in the group that would like to chat?
Rio, this is Tom Grimm. I have a brief question. What's your email address so we can send contact information?
Absolutely. I'll put it in the chat, but it's Rio, R-I-O .Valdez, spelled V as in Victor, VOLDES at volersystems.com. That's VOLER systems.com.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. We're honored that everybody could attend. Again, please reach out to us if you'd like us to include you in an introduction in writing to each other. Any special details you'd like to include about who you are or what projects you're working on or what you might be able to help others with or what you'd like help with. And we'll give you the recording as well as how to get in touch with all the professionals in the list that gave us permission. And certainly included would be Fusion Design and Mark and Walt McClay's contact information. As always, it's a pleasure. We meet once a month. If you feel that you have an interesting topic or someone that you'd like to have as a speaker, please reach out to me. We're able to do 2 meetings a month for sure, and certainly never less than 1. And I appreciate you joining us. Stay safe, and we look forward to having you join us again in near future.
Okay.
Thank you again.
Bye-bye.
Bye for now.
Thank you, Rio, for setting this up.
It's
Thank
our
you.
pleasure, as always. We look forward to feedback from you, anything that we can do different or improve on. Please, certainly don't be shy. We're here to make this a great experience for everyone.
Thank you.
Goodbye for now.
Bye.